Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here, and this is Hearthstone March of the Lich King Undead Priest card reveal. If you watched the Death Knight show matches, you may have already seen this card. Animate Dead, a 1-mana shadow spell to resurrect a friendly minion that costs 3 or less. Alright, so this is not quite the big priest, the big resurrect priest of old. We are resurrecting far smaller minions. Obviously, people have been speculating on what sort of uses Animate Dead could have. For example, resurrecting some radiant elementals to do some crazy stuff with spells. However, the package is actually pushing Animate Dead into a slightly different direction. Because this is not the only way to bring stuff back in this set. We also have Bonecaller, a 4-mana 2/4 minion with Taunt and Death Rattle, resurrect a friendly undead that died this game. So Priest is in need of some friendly undead minions, and again, if you watch the Death Knight show matches, you already saw these two. Haunting Nightmare, a 3-mana 3/3 undead with Death Rattle, haunt a card in your hand. When you play it, summon a 3/3 soldier. And Mind Eater, a 2-mana 3/2 undead, Death Rattle, add a copy of a card in your opponent's deck to your hand. But there is far more to Undead Priest than just some resurrect effects and a couple of undead minions. Obviously, Undead Priest will need to have some cards in order to keep up the swarm. And for that purpose, the deck has Grave Digging, a 4-mana shadow spell, draw 2 cards, costs 1 if a friendly undead died after your last turn. So killing the priest's undead minions can be a fatal mistake, as it allows them to be resurrected, it allows priest to draw cards, and it allows priest to deal even more damage with Shadow Word Undeath, a 5-mana shadow spell. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. If a friendly undead died after your last turn, deal 2 more. What could be more inconvenient than undead minions that are resurrected if they die, that power up spells when they die? Well, undead minions that refuse to even stay dead, thanks to Undying Allies. 0-mana shadow spell. After you play an undead this turn, give it Reborn. And if all of that is not enough, Undead Priest caps it all off with Power Off.
Death will not be a mercy for you.
As fast as you can. Trust me.
High Cultist Basalev, a 5-mana 3/5 minion with a battle cry, resurrect all friendly undead that died after your last turn. And thanks to all of these cards, Blizzard has finally printed a Rager that you want to put in your deck. Scourge Rager, 3-mana 5/4 undead, reborn, battle cry, die. This was already revealed before. This is a neutral card, but it goes so well with all of these priest cards. You play that, and oh well, it already killed itself for High Cultist Basalev. You play that, and on the same turn you can play Grave Digging for 1 mana, because Scourge Rager just killed itself. You play that, and you have Shadow Word Undeath all ready to go. You don't even need to have a board to get your undead to die, and you can just activate all of your effects. So, what kind of priest decks can we build with all of these new tools? For example, we can build the Undead Swarm, because there's a lot of new undead minions, and some old minions also got undead tag added to them. So we can just try to swarm the board, use Undying Allies. Undying Allies cost 0, you drop that Undying Allies, you play a bunch of minions, they will all have Reborn, and then they may even come back next turn, even if they're killed from High Cultist Basalev. So there's just so much swarming going on with this one. I really like building these Undead Priest decks into a Shadow Priest core, so I'm using Dark Bishop Benedictus to turn my hero power into damage as well. And for the swarm approach, Void Touch Attendant. It is not an undead minion, so okay, that doesn't actually benefit from Undying Allies, but if you can swarm the board, get the attendant in, and then just deal a bunch of damage. However, all the things that we have seen so far from Druid and from Death Knight make me think that Priest might not be the top class to swarm the board. I think Priest might even be able to do better as a Shadow Priest. So as a Shadow Priest, we have Bonecaller, we have Animate Dead. We can resurrect some pretty interesting minions like Brilskin Zombies and Shadowed Spirits, which have death rattles that deal damage to the enemy hero. So we have some minion power coming in, then we have these minions that when they die they deal damage to the enemy hero. We have the Shadow Priest hero power from Dark Bishop Benedictus. We have Void Shards so we can shoot at the enemy hero. We even have Shadowcloth Needle, and Shadowcloth Needle, bunch of shadow spells, clears some of those boards, deals damage to the enemy hero, then Shadow Word Undead here as well. Again, some of our Undead minions die, we deal damage to the board, we'll deal damage to the hero, and finally Sister Swalna, giving us the Vision of Darkness that can discover more Void Shards for even more fun. This way we can have more board clears available to us, and we're not as dependent on having the board ourselves, because we have damage from hand and many of the minions. If we play the minions and if they happen to die, they deal damage anyway. So this time Priest Resurrect package is not going to bring in a bunch of big minions time and time again, but either a swarm of undead or carefully curated undead, and just deal damage to the face with the return of Shadow Priest. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.